Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Andrew and Jerry Save the World. It's CPAC 2024. This is our first day here at CPAC. And by the way, you're going to see some interviews and hear some interviews because Jerry was very late today showing up. You've had a warning already, haven't you?
Well, I have another life besides outside of our podcast.
Yes, I understand this.
Way, our myriad fans are wondering why we haven't recorded a podcast in many a week.
I was saving up. I was saving up for this. So because I knew we were going to do one today. We'll do one tomorrow.
Well, I
release them in turn.
The morning, literally saving the world with ideas and philosophy and pushing back against the leftist attack on our founding principles. I was a wee bit late. What did I miss?
You missed our interview where we're going to have on the show today. An interview with Roma Daravi.
Oh, very good, very good.
Former Deputy Comms Director, Horace Cooper from Project 21. Horace Cooper from Project 21, National Center for Public Policy Research. We're going to be joined in a couple of minutes by a couple of the producers of the movie Cabrini about Mother Cabrini.
Yes, very good.
And then Mary Walter is most likely going to be stopping by. Rob O'Donnell, I'm hoping, is going to sit in at some point today.
Rob O'Donnell, of course, former New York City detective.
Yes.
His own show out of Pennsylvania.
Out of Scranton.
And Mary, of course, was with WMAL.
Yes.
But now does a lot of fill-in work and podcasting.
And is a podcaster.
And she's hilarious and funny and smart.
And a huge fan of both of us.
Right?
She is from New Jersey.
Well, New York, New Jersey.
Yes, the tri-state area. Tri-state area. Yes. Jerry, you've missed out. We had a good first night at last night. CPAC kicked off with a summit, an international summit.
Really?
Representatives from a bunch of different nations got together, a very crowded room to talk about international. Yes. So it was folks representing. It was Nigel Farage.
He's here all the time anyway.
Former British Prime Minister Liz Truss was there last night.
Oh, yes.
Senior officials from El Salvador, senior officials from Venezuela, and from Argentina. Thank you very much. Argentina, not Venezuela. No. Argentina. Folks, no. See, I'm about to.
Man, I tell you, Andrew, you say every year.
Japan, every CPAC is different, and this CPAC will be no different.
They've invited the tyrants from Venezuela.
No. I Argentina, Venezuela, Peru, Bolivia. I get them all
when
confused.
You say these names, these South American countries, you have to do what they did on Saturday Night Live.
Which is what Mercedes was able to do.
Oh, very nice.
Schlapp was Guatemala, Venezuela. Yes, but at
Japan, Korea.
Yes,
not North Korea.
No, South Korea.
Oh, South Korea.
Yes,
we like the South Koreans.
Yeah, the Republic of Korea. As opposed,
Donald Trump's going to make amends and make peace with North Korea.
Well, this was the interesting discussion last night. Was about the leftist movement that wants to undermine U.S.-Korea relations and essentially give up South Korea to the North Koreans. And so that was
give up South Korea. They want to give up Taiwan. And we're doing everything wrong when it comes to Ukraine.
Yes.
Because, again, I talked about this with you, I think just yesterday, why is the president, Joe Biden, saying on Tuesday that he's going to announce a slew of sanctions against Russia on Friday?
Yes.
I don't understand. If Ukraine is so important, and I think it is.
Right.
And if Russia is such a tyrannical state and Putin is such a dictator, which I agree with those statements.
Right.
Why are we still...
Why haven't we pulled all the stops? Why haven't we pulled all the stops?
I mean, this is like a prize fight where one guy has a hand and a foot tied behind his back.
Right, and he's waiting and he keeps saying he's doing his best and he's waiting. Finally, he releases the foot, and you're like, why haven't you released the hand to deliver the knockout punch?
Serious note, it just shows that the left, the establishment, Joe Biden, this administration is not serious about peace in Ukraine or about justice. I mean, let's face it, Russia invaded a sovereign nation.
Right.
You and I were one of the first on the right. It's hard to identify you and I because we're not neocons and we're not MAGA, but we're not the old establishment. We really are.
Well, I mean, I think we are thoughtful, rational conservatives.
But my point is, we came out straight away supporting Ukraine, and also for the U.S. to give aid to Ukraine.
Right.
The problem is how that aid has been presented.
Right. Yes. And the issue therein of accountability and transparency.
Now our friends in the GOP establishment would say, well, you're hedging. You're not really serious. Well, yeah, I am serious. I would say pull all the stops and lay all the sanctions on Russia today.
Well, there's that aspect.
Destroy them economically.
Yes, it's not even just sanctions. It goes the other way, which is the issue of making sure that we are doing what we can to be the preeminent deliverer of energy around the world. Whether it's,
of course, yes, ding ding ding,
petroleum. You know something?
Yeah.
Real quick, I'm going to digress. Opening up the crate of goodies for remote broadcasts. Yes. The dinger is broken.
Oh man,
the dinger. So we destroyed a dinger. So anyway, the point is,
my dinger is fine. Your dinger might be destroyed.
Thank you. Chuck, was it Chuck Berry who sang the song My Ding-a-Ling? Yes. So this is one of these disparate segments that I'm going to talk about, that I talked about when I introduced the show with Jerry. Because Jerry, as we've mentioned already, hasn't shown up for CPAC yet, but because he's got a very tight schedule and doesn't want me to cut into his lunch hour, I'm joined by my longtime friend Horace Cooper. How are you doing, sir?
It's great to see you. It's always great to see you on the air.
Hearing your guys as the board member of Project 21
and
chairman of Project 21 at the National Center for Public Policy Research. And how are things going, man? I mean, this is what are your impressions of CPAC? I know you don't do impressions, but if you had to do an impression of CPAC, what would your impression be?
So I don't do voiceovers.
Yes,
but, I know someone who does. I am excited about being here. I was curious when I came in last night because it looked like it was going to be a little slow because I saw mostly people setting up and building up.
Right,
but you can watch and see the people going by. They've got a good crowd.
I just got a text message from a radio colleague who couldn't come this week, and he's like, "So what's it like?" I'm like, "It's packed. It's packed." And I said, "I'm not blowing smoke at you." He was like, "Wow." He was, I think he's regretting not being here, as most folks are. So let me start here because I know we're going to talk about Fannie Gate, which when you said that to me, I was a little mystified. I thought you were talking about Fannie Mae, but apparently not. But so we just got this bizarre news about this FBI whistleblower Russia thing. Can you are you familiar at all with this? Yeah, talk a little bit about that because I'm trying to noodle my way through it to see how this changes things, if it does.
So the White House would have us believe that one of the witnesses that is a key to Chairman Comer's investigations of the White House son of Joe Biden. His name is
Hunter Biden.
Hunter Biden.
Yes.
One of those witnesses may or may not have given false information.
Okay.
And that they claim therefore means that both the special counsel that was set up to investigate Hunter Biden and the congressional investigation that's happening in the House of Representatives in the Oversight Committee.
Okay, yes.
And the Judiciary Committee may not have a substantiation.
Sure.
So that's all false.
Yeah, right. Got it. Okay, got it. That's what my point here.
Can't be a special counsel and not take whatever information that you got from a witness.
Sure.
And validate it.
Right.
You don't just simply have the representations made of a witness.
Sure.
You actually go and validate. And you don't rely on simply one
Of
witness.
course, right.
At the end of the day, both the House Judiciary Committee, the House Oversight Committee, and the special counsel have numerous ways to substantiate the charges that they have against Hunter Biden.
I mean, this is the thing that gets me. It's like it's not as though there are not very serious. I mean, the allegations that are contained within are serious. There are other serious allegations. There's this issue of we simply don't know whether or not the president was involved in advising his son as to whether or not he should ignore the lawfully issued congressional subpoena to testify about his father. And to me, that alone is an impeachable offense if he was any way involved in his son defying that subpoena. Anyway, let's move over because I know our time is limited. I use that as a way to tee up this issue of the political prosecutions of President Trump and President Trump's adherents, advisors, colleagues. Yes, the lawfare. We have this situation going on in Georgia. We have a bunch of folks who, for whatever reason, pled guilty, and so there we go. And so but yet now we have these bizarre allegations coming out of the Fulton County DA's office. Thanks. Talk about it.
Okay. So I've been posting since the 15th of January a daily update. My social media manager told me that we really, really need to drive people to, and what are your areas of expertise?
Sure.
As a former constitutional law professor,
yes,
you should provide insights into what's going on.
Right.
I gave an update up until the day after Bonnie Willis's testimony, Nathan Wade's testimony, and that of her father.
Right.
The day after that, I put up an update in which I said, okay, I've seen enough. She is going to be disqualified.
Right. What was the straw that broke the camel's back? Was it the testimony or was it her wearing her pink dress backwards?
So everyone tells me that the dress was on backwards.
Yes.
I'm not the expert. I was told that the zipper normally
is on the back,
not on your under your neck.
Yes.
Not normally.
Yes.
But I can keep up with that. I'm sure that there's some DEI expert over at the White House that understands
or is going to make the case that alleging that she has put her dress on backwards is somehow racist in some way. Yes. How dare you assume that she's going to put this on? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So there are two big issues that are the real reason why they're going to be disqualified.
Okay.
Number one is Nathan Wade said in May of 23 and in December of 23, when asked under oath, have you had a relationship with any person who's not your wife? He said no.
Right.
That was a lie.
Right.
And he was forced to acknowledge that he meant, well, I assume my marriage ended in 2014.
Yes.
Okay. So that's called a lie.
Yes.
Secondly, the state of Georgia requires you to answer this question. Has anyone doing business with the state of Georgia given you anything of value in the aggregate?
Yes.
Over $50.
Sure.
Yeah. She put 0 in 2022 and in 2023 and signed it, affirming it under oath.
Right.
Both of those were lies.
Sure.
Her explanation was, well, I reimbursed my boyfriend for all of these. Now, we now know that it is now over $650,000, maybe $700,000 that he received. These two individuals, just that alone, was a sufficient basis for them to be disqualified. And then when I watched their testimony, it lacked any credibility.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
If this were a tenant-landlord dispute, you had one set of witnesses that came up and nothing they said was credible.
Right.
And then you had another witness that came up and said the opposite.
Right. Sure.
Because the only unrebutted evidence was the credible witness.
Right. Of course.
Then you accept it.
Of course.
The credible witness said their relationship began before she was elected prosecutor.
Sure.
One last thing is
please
that the one of the answers that she gave, in addition to using cash exclusively, where'd you get this cash? Where'd you get this cash? She lied and she said all Black people.
Right. This is where I was going to go. I'm not going to ask you how much cash you have in your house, Horace, but
Forbes magazine, they keep reporting on a quarterly basis that 70% of Americans say if they had a flat tire or a major plumbing problem, they don't have the cash.
Sure, of course.
But I'm supposed to believe that the Black ones in that group, they would just shell out thousands of dollars at a time.
Right.
But she claimed that some of the money had come from her campaign fund.
Oh, yeah.
Where is she allowed to just hand herself cash?
Right. Of course. Yes.
Again, all of these things are going to cause her to ultimately be
Right.
disqualified.
I mean, I was just going to make a comment. It's all African Americans. They keep cashing theirs, and Bob Menendez.
So yes, well, he keeps gold bricks.
Yeah, gold bricks.
He keeps gold bricks. I said on Fox News last Friday night that when her father came and said all blacks do this, that he was David Duke on black.
Sure, right. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I would agree with that.
David
Yes.
Duke were to make that kind of representation about black people, we wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, what about this issue? The other question that she answered that I thought was very odd was that she didn't consider Wade to be her employee. He was a contractor. I've been a contractor of a number of organizations, and I always consider myself, in some way, shape, or form, an employee for the for the definition of
Let's go back to the form.
Yes, please.
Anyone doing business with Fulton County.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if he's an employee or not.
Okay,
Doesn't
good point.
matter if he's a contractor. You've authorized him to get nearly $700,000.
That's astounding.
I've done the tally, by the way. As I said, you can go on X and see. It is $16,000 worth of travel. 16,000.
Amazing.
I don't know how many vacations you took in 2023.
But
she took nearly 8. How do you actually prosecute the most high
of course
case
and yes
and go on 8 trips to Napa Valley, a Bahama cruise,
don't we all want to live Fannie Willis's life?
Yes,
I wish I had Fannie Willis's life. So the folks who copped a plea in this case, did they do so prematurely?
They did so prematurely,
and there's no way to revisit it this point.
She didn't get any felony convictions.
Okay.
So there are actually no sanctions against the people. In fact, I was predicting when I first saw these plea deals.
Yes.
High profile, 19 people named.
Right.
And then one by one, we're going to reduce and reduce and reduce and reduce. That means that because her deals were so poorly constructed, she can't even guarantee that they will testify anything of substance. You don't complete your deal until after the testimony.
Were they making the deal with her? Or were they making the deal with him? Were they making the deal with Willis, or were they making the deal with Wade?
I think neither.
Okay. All right. Because I'm just making the point, we know that Wade had never prosecuted a major case before. So, Yes, of course.
He would have said whatever you guys think is best.
Wow.
Whatever you guys think
that is amazing.
So, and I'm going to say this.
Please.
Go. No. I watched and I concluded I wouldn't let these people negotiate a car sale, a used car sale for me. Such legal incompetence and malpractice.
What's the next book, Horace Cooper?
All right. So 2 books are already out.
Yes.
Number 1 is How Donald Trump is Making Black America Great Again.
Good.
Book number 2, Put Y'all Back in Chains.
Yes.
How Joe Biden's policies hurt Black Americans. But the new book that I'm working on now is Us Versus Them, the coming clash between blacks and progressives.
Love it. I love it. Horace Cooper, how do folks find out more about the good work you were doing at Project 21?
So check us out at Project 21 News, or you can follow me directly on X at the Horace Cooper, or you can always just Google Project 21. You'll get to our website and you can see all of the great work we're doing.
The Horace Cooper. If you're not following him, you should. Horace Cooper, thank you very much for joining us today. Appreciate it. Well, once again, we are recording a segment because, as I mentioned earlier, Gerald is late to the party, and really late to the party in this case, because joined by one of my favorite people in the movement, Roma Daravi. She's a former deputy communications director for the White House under Donald Trump, Trump 45, right? 45th president of the United States.
And 47
yes.
to be.
Yes. So joining us now. So CPAC, how many CPACs is this for you?
Oh gosh, I don't even know.
Yeah. This is number 20 for me, not in a row.
Okay, not that many.
Yes, but I'm just sort of sitting here going through it. It's been a very, very long time. You come to CPAC, you groove on the energy as much as I do, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the energy. Talk about the movement, where we are. We're in an election year. Talk about it.
Yeah. What I love about CPAC is that you get such dynamic groups of people here. Every age, every race, the two genders that we have.
Sure. Yes, of course.
And it's really exciting. I mean, this morning we already heard from Byron Donalds. You're going to hear from Tulsi Gabbard later today. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow you've got Megyn Kelly, which is very exciting. Saturday, the big one, the boss, Donald J. Trump.
Saturday, me as well. So, I don't know. I'm on Saturday. Yes.
That. Yes. It's exciting. The energy is here. And that's a hard thing to do in Washington, D.C. It is a 95% Democrat city. So you get a lot of conservatives together and you just feel the energy. It's really overwhelming, and it's very exciting in this election year.
It is. So how's it shaping up for you? I mean, you were inside the White House watching the political landscape change. What's it looking like in 2024? What are your thoughts here?
Well, Donald Trump is doing an absolutely amazing job on the campaign trail. The Democrats have tried everything under the sun, and under the God's green earth and back in hell to get him. Sure. Off this trail. It's not going to work. He won't be distracted by the hearings. He won't be distracted by the lawsuits. He will not let the corrupt DAs keep him from helping this country get back on track. And it's really, something that only he could ever do. Yeah. That man is so strong and so powerful and so honest.
Yes.
More so than any other political candidate, I would say, in American history. And it's not normal, and that is why they hate him here. And on top of all of that, Joe Biden has done absolutely horrific things, not just to the nation, but to the world. And now you're seeing him try to take credit for things that President Trump did,
while trying to blame Trump for things that are Joe Biden's fault. Yes.
So blaming President Trump. So, I mean, at least pick one. Either blame him or try to take credit for a policy that he created, but don't do both. You just look dumb.
Well, it is an amazing kind of political gaslighting that's going on here. It's I'm reminded, I don't know if you remember the movie Animal House, but Kevin Bacon shouting as the crowd is rioting, "Remain calm, all is well." That sort of that disconnect. I'm sorry, that it totally went by you there. Again, a generational thing. So here's the thing, working inside the White House during that, and obviously under very tough circumstances, being, in communications for this White House, that was essentially under siege since before day one. What's it like outside, being a former Trump White House staffer, doing this kind of work outside? How's that going for you?
It's going very well. Good. So as you know, I was in the White House really managing the press, the broadcast media engagements, the national TV, CNN and others. And, trying to make sure that they were correcting the narrative, that they are, putting lies on the screen. I'm calling the producer and I'm telling them, come on, we talked about this. You got to fix it. So I'm still doing a lot of that today. I run my own PR firm, Daravi Strategies. Yes. I work with people across the political spectrum, but I also most of my clients are not political at all, because, politics, I think, is kind of the underlying water that runs throughout all business today. You don't make any decisions without thinking about the political implications that they'll have. So I'm still doing a lot of that. And then, of course, in my spare time, I like to go on radio shows like this.
It's funny.
And talk about how much we miss President Trump.
On the other podcast, the Lunch Hour podcast that I do ask political and policy folks about their outside interests. So when you're, besides going on radio shows, when you're not doing this work, what are you doing? And I do have a substantive question I want to ask you, but when you're not working, what are you up to? What do you do?
Well, I love to travel. My family is back in Orange County, California. So I'll go out there and I'll see them as much as I can. Excellent. I also go down to Florida to see the boss.
Okay.
And New York City to do a little extra media up there in Manhattan. But, I'm active. I'm a former classical ballet dancer professionally.
That's right. I saw that on your Twitter bio.
Yes. So I was a professional ballet dancer for many years. Wow. So in my spare time, when I can, I like to go and take a class and,
nice.
Do that. Do a lot of Pilates. But, there's no beach here.
Yes, so that's the problem. There's nowhere close.
I was a coastal girl growing up, and any spare time I had, I just went to the beach.
Listen, my daughter, when she was going off to college, my older one said it needs to be between Florida and Maryland and within 30 miles of the coast. So
Yes.
and so she went to Charleston, so she can still surf from time to time, which is good. But back to your clients, because this is, as someone who you're doing comms for the White House, talking about this political undercurrent flowing through things. How do you go about explaining DC to folks who are not familiar with DC? How do you help them make sense of what's going on here?
Well, the political climate today has become so obvious to everyone, whether they have an extreme knowledge of politics or they've never voted before in their life. So, it is much easier today to insert the idea of that political undercurrent when talking with clients, because everybody understands that it is something that exists and they have to be cautious of it with their decisions. But I'll tell you, I've worked with people across industries, from energy to healthcare to nonprofits that focus on human trafficking. And no matter which way these people vote, they all believe that we need to be coming together as a nation right now. The fighting, the rioting, the crime, much of which is because of illegal immigration. I will say a lot of the crime, a lot of the mass shooting that unfortunately happened down in Texas just a week or two ago was an illegal immigrant, was someone who was trans. And, these issues that we're having, it all boils down to how did we get to this point? And it's bad policy. And bad policy leads to a bad environment. And so, we have to pay attention to those things when we're making our day-to-day decisions. Are you going to shop small? Are you going to make sure that the bag that you're purchasing was made in the USA? All of those things, they really do make a difference.
Absolutely.
America seems to not really recognize the idea that most other nations do. The Middle East understands this very well. China understands this very well. They act based off of their pocketbook. So if you want, and President Trump was so good at this, you got to hit him where it hurts. And these countries, it hurts when you grab their pocketbook. That's why he threw tariffs on China. That's why there's Jared.
There's Jared. Hold on. Let me turn up his microphone.
President Trump threw tariffs on China. Why? Because he knew if he grabbed their pocketbook, they would pay attention. And
hold on, Robert. Finish that thought. Just tilt the camera a little, move the camera a little bit this way. So I can
it's a very bad angle for you.
Is it all right? You want to stay off camera?
No, okay. Just give me my headshot. Don't give me
just turn a little bit that way. No, the other way. So yes. That'll work. Actually, back the other way. No, back towards me. I see there. No, all right. Well, sit down, back the other way. There we go. A little bit more. Thank you. Gerald.
Hello.
You've joined us.
Headphones?
We don't need them.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. You can put them on if you want. Yes.
No, that's all right.
So we're just, Roma was sort of.
It's $180 to valet here. It's
what?
like $250.
Oh, it's a valet. Okay. The rest of us know how to park our own cars.
Didn't want to park my own. I was running late. I'm hot. I got things going on. I got people real clear yelling at me.
It's 30 degrees outside.
Very warm.
Yes.
He is not from California.
No, I'm not.
Very, very, very much so.
Get back to the show. I'm ready.
Well, no, I mean we're actually Roma. We're coming to a close.
Oh, very good.
So Roma, listen, thank you so very much for joining us. How do folks find out more about the good work you're doing?
Best way to keep up with me is just follow on Twitter at Roma Daravi. Sounds confusing. It's phonetic. I promise.
Yeah, there we go. Roma, thank you so very much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sorry.
Anyway, the point is that it's not just oil, right? Obviously, we should be a net oil exporter once again. We actually need to find I'm going to digress. One of our guests, we need to find a second chair. Yeah. But it's also
one of the things
natural gas.
About CPAC is you're interacting with the audience.
Well, it's Jerry. It's we do the show without a producer. If we had an actual producer,
Seinfeld.
Yes.
Okay? Langer, you're not Seinfeld.
Doing crowd work.
Yeah.
Well, oh my God.
You can take the reservation.
You just can't hold the reservation, which is it's the most important part of the reservation.
You know, you were saying something profound.
Yes, about liquefied natural gas and coal.
Yes.
All of these things.
That's why the rates are so high, by the way, because we're talking about liquefied what?
Natural gas.
Yes.
Coal.
And Fannie Mae.
Yes. No. Fannie Willis.
Oh, Fannie Willis.
Now her middle name may be May.
Are we going to talk about entitlement later?
We can talk about what
Fannie Willis and how she's entitled. You know,
yes.
Fannie
so
Willis, by the way, I digress, but I'm going to do it anyway. Fannie Willis is the example of why diversity, equity, inclusion has completely failed.
Yes, agreed wholeheartedly. Listen, let me bring our guests on. Guys, why don't you come and sit down, gents? Unfortunately, I'm going to have you share a microphone.
Hey,
all right.
What about Mary? Is Mary?
Mary's going to come in a minute. Yes.
All right. How are you? All right.
So, gentlemen, go ahead. Get on the microphone and introduce yourselves.
We have one mic. What is this? Led Zeppelin?
They're
sharing a mic.
Yeah, they're gonna sing a duet.
All right.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, I've got it. There we go.
Oh, this is the Mother Cabrini.
Yes. Thank you.
You know, it's a nice Irish song, a Mother Cabrini Irish song. You know.
I did not know that.
Patrick's Day is coming up.
So, Jerry, who do we have? I'm sorry. Say it again.
This is Jordan Harmon.
I can't read English.
Oh, good Lord, Jerry. Thank you very much. As I put on my glasses. We're joined now by Jordan Harmon and Leo Severino, who are the co-founders and president of Angel Studios.
Oh, really?
And you're the producer of Angel Studios' newest release, Cabrini. Gentlemen, so tell us about the movie. There's a screening. Is there one screening, two screenings? How many screenings are happening here at CPAC?
There's one? Just one tonight, yeah.
Yes. It's example. Talk about. I've seen the trailer looks amazing,
and the posters are cool. Make sure you talk to the mic though, because this is, Angel Studios is fantastic, and I'm a father of 5, and it is becoming more and more difficult to. That's not me, by the way.
Okay, good.
There's an alarm going off. It's not me. It's becoming more and more difficult to find a safe channel or programs for kids. Even you go to a Cartoon Network or a family-friendly network, and there's all kinds of nonsense. And so what you guys are doing in terms of entertainment is very important. But tell us about the movie, though. I apologize.
Well, thank you so much, and we agree wholeheartedly. I'm so glad to have partnered with Angel Studios because their mission is to amplify light, and our mission as a production company is much the same, to try to be a light in kind of the darkness that you're referencing out there in the entertainment world. So we've done a few films. We did Bella and Sound of Freedom, and now Cabrini. And
Sound of Freedom was controversial. Who would have thought that a good movie based upon historical events that had a positive, albeit hard to deal with, truth would be controversial in Hollywood?
We definitely thought that would be a movie that would unite people.
Yes.
Right.
That was a surprise for us.
But because it was supported by conservatives, it became something that the left immediately had to get angry on.
Not to sound ridiculous, but it is ridiculous to think that there are actually people upset that you were highlighting trafficking and what happens there. I mean, my goodness.
Not only trafficking, an actual true story, an actual event that actually happened with people that actually got sent to jail for, a decade or more, and were kids that were actually saved. It was very surprising to us.
But the good news is it did well.
It did.
Audiences liked it.
And in fact, the audiences from all the exit polls were actually split. It wasn't a conservative film. Both sides of the aisle went and supported the film, which was kind of much hype about nothing, I think.
Yeah.
Again, but now back to the latest one.
Sorry, I'm excited about the other stuff.
I know you are, but it's fine. So you were talking about this. So the movie Mother Cabrini, obviously a fascinating figure, a figure who more Americans, more people around the world should know about. Talk about her as a subject.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I didn't. Growing up Catholic, nonetheless, never heard of Cabrini, which was
really?
Yes.
Well, you're not Irish. You're not Irish Catholic.
Well, I guess that's what it is.
I don't know. But, not that she's Irish, but very familiar growing up with Bronx Irish Catholics. Anyway, I apologize.
No, not at all.
But not familiar.
Yeah, when we heard about this great saint, we heard that all the adversity she had to overcome in order to just help the person on the street, and she wound up helping millions of people, touching millions of souls, and no one knows her name. It's an incredible underdog story, and so we're really pleased to bring this to the big screen, because
and so
we think it's a worthy story.
CPAC When does it hit streaming or movies or both? Or
Yeah, so it comes out on March 8th,
March 8th.
International Women's Day, and it's going to really show the world the power of a real woman, a woman who was given God-given talents, and she was able to enable those. But I mean, she stood up to the Pope, to the Archdiocese, to the mayor, to pimps. I mean, she was an incredible woman who was given 2 years to live and did things on the scale of Rockefeller and all those from that time period. And so she really is remarkable, and it's going to be a massive film.
It underscores the importance of charity that has some kind of soul affirming element to it, right? Because we spend a lot of time wondering why we spend billions on entitlements in this country, billions on welfare, and yet there's nothing soul affirming about what we do as a nation to help those who are in need. But the Mother Cabrini story is all about that issue, about how when you have something that is soul affirming behind the charitable giving that is done, it actually can transform the culture.
And on top of that, she did it in a way, she didn't wait for government assistance or government handouts. She just went and solved the problems.
Yeah.
She was, one of the things that it says in the movie is she says, begin the mission and the means will come.
Yes.
And so it's one of those things where, nowadays there's so many people that are waiting for government handouts and government people to come in and solve their problems. And the reality is that's just not how life should work.
The church, we're waiting for someone else to do it. Oh, someone's going to come along and help. It's funny because what's the cliche? God doesn't, whether you think you're equipped or not, God equips the mission.
Right.
And she's a testament to that, where she took us, it was leap of faith. She was faithful, and God honored that. And her success. And I think for young people, especially today, we hear lots about young people are hopeless and they're lost on social media, or they have mental health issues and there's a drug abuse and overdose. I think this could be helpful and hopeful for young people, that you can make a difference and you don't have to wait on someone else.
That's right. It's about the individual making a difference in the world and realizing how much power we have. For me, I have 5 kids as well. Number 6 on the way. And yes. And
that's awesome.
But for me, I'm looking at it and saying, this is a person that I want my kids to model their lives after. Obviously, there's lots of people throughout history that we want our children to look up to, but this is one of those stories where people walk out of and they feel touched to an extent that they can't even explain. And I think it's because it shows the power of the individual. Right. It shows the power of someone who can do something beyond what people would think was humanly possible. And so we're very, very excited about it. Theaters are selling out across the nation. We're already in 2,500 locations, and we're going for 3,000. And wow. We believe, it's pacing just a little bit behind Sound of Freedom, but it's pacing really, really well. And it looks like it's going to surprise the entire world once again. So again, we got to get there.
The other big screenings coming up that
there's a few other screenings that are more private screenings. There's the premiere in New York that's happening, next week. But
where New York is going to happen.
That one.
And can Jerry get a ticket?
Yeah,
I think it's in Times Square.
Somewhere over there.
I'm thinking about Catholic University should have a big event, or
let's do it.
My 2 older girls go to Catholic University. So
and one of the things that is really cool is we've had different archdioceses reach out to us, and they're a bunch of them are buying tickets for their groups and having massive groups go. And so
I know you want to say something, but I want to be clear here to our listeners. This is not a Catholic thing.
No,
this is 100%
there is a universality to it.
I am not Catholic.
Sorry, I know you wanted to add something.
Oh yeah, no, and it's precisely that. The film isn't meant to be a Catholic film. It's not a faith film. It's a film that's universal about a woman who is, as Jordan said, should be a role model for people. There was a saying that she has that's in the film where she says, we can either serve our weakness or we can serve our purpose. And I think that's something that we all face every single day, sometimes even getting out of bed, like you were saying, the kids who are depressed or struggling with stuff. This is a real underdog story that is universal at its core, with a message that is so profound that we feel it's going to be
this
impactful.
Is what I appreciate about the work both of you are doing in terms of media, is that obviously for a very long time all of us in the conservative side of things have complained about a lack of movies with conservative themes. Jerry sort of brought this up,
and the art world lacking a Christian or a faithful influence. I mean, my goodness, you go back to the Renaissance and go back in our history, the church was involved in art and entertainment. And
my point is that there have been attempts in the past to make movies from a conservative bent, though they failed for a lot of reasons. Like we talk about conservative comedy. Yes, this is my point.
Bad movies.
Yeah, what was Nicolas Cage did the thing on Rapture? What was that one called?
I don't know.
Left Behind. I still think a good movie about Revelation would be fantastic.
Hey, was that Nicolas Cage or was that was Kirk Cameron also did?
It's been redone a few times.
Hasn't been done well yet.
But my point is this: is that you guys are you're starting with good stories and good scripts and good filmmaking, and it's not about conservatism. It's again these universal themes that apply to everybody. As it happens, they affirm a conservative message. That's why I think it works. So talk a little bit about that.
C.S. Lewis said that, right? There's evidence of the divine in all of us. And so that's why these movies has a universal appeal.
Yeah,
that's right. It's whether we want to call it out on its face or not, Angel's mission is to tell stories that amplify light, like Lee was saying, and light in its core is going to be from God. And so, it doesn't have to say it on its face.
No.
But the beautiful part about these stories is it is through the theatrical system that we can influence not only the culture and what's happening, but also the world. You look at Sound of Freedom, for example. It was one of the number one films searched all of 2023.
Yeah. And
it had massive impact. Legislation across the world is being done to try to solve this problem. And so, people, if your audience has seen Sound of Freedom and they walked out being moved, Cabrini in its own right, is much more artistically well done.
Okay.
But also moves you to the core. So just know that this is one of those films that is just, it rocks people. It moves them. They get up, they want to be better. They want to do more. They want to solve problems, and it's an incredible film.
Jerry, I'm thinking because this is a very interesting business model. These gentlemen would be perfect for the Business of America podcast.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Well, you'll get me.
I'll link them all up. Link you guys up.
A couple things. Number one, who's in it? You share with us who are the actors, actresses, those who are participating. But also, this is this kind of inside baseball. You guys, I hope you have like prayer warriors behind you. Because what you're doing is what you're doing in the forefront of a cultural. Battle's the wrong word, but you're on the forefront. You're in the battle lines.
It's warfare.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
And Moses had Aaron, right? Someone to keep his hands lifted up. Right. Exactly right. So I hope
Andrew has Jerry.
So, our listeners who are faithful, pray for these gentlemen, pray for their endeavors.
That's really sweet, Jerry. Yeah, we do feel often that we're in the trenches and we can definitely use your support. So appreciate that. The film, it starts, you're not going to get an awesome work of art without an incredible talent at the helm. And our director, Alejandro Monteverde, who also did Bella and Sound of Freedom, Cabrini and whatnot, is just an incredible talent. And he managed to assemble a ridiculous cast. John Lithgow plays the antagonist along with David Morse. Yeah. And then the actress is David Morse. Yeah. It's an unbelievable cast. And they were attracted to the strength of the script and the story. And then above that, once you meet our director and you understand his artistic vision, you're in. It's infectious. And then the lead is this gal we found from Italy. We felt that in order to make it authentic, we needed someone who was Italian at their core.
Yes.
To represent this Italian immigrant that came to the U.S. and became the first canonized American saint.
Notice how my Irish immigrant family was very much aware of
Cabrini.
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah.
In fact, at the time, there was some tension between the Irish and the Italian.
The product of that, I taught at a Catholic high school for years when I first came out of college, and I used to joke around with the Italian kids. I'd be like, all right, all the Italian kids stand up, go to the back of the room. You got to stand back there, and all the Irish kids go. All the Irish kids come front.
Talking about it over,
joking about
that. About Italian Catholics and not allowing their daughters to date Irish Catholics,
and vice versa.
Yes. I think Rob O'Donnell was talking about that specifically.
But however, we grew up like in the Bronx in New York. We grew up with our St. Patrick's Day is coming up. We eat corned beef. Corned beef's not Irish. It's Jewish. We got it from our Jewish neighbors. Irish potato pancakes.
Yes.
We got from our Jewish neighbors.
Right.
And we got so much from our Italian neighbors.
Soup you got from your Jewish neighbors.
But our Italian neighbors. That's another thing here is that this goes beyond ethnicity. It goes beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, guys, so how do folks find out more about the film? How do they find out where it's playing near them? Opens on March 8th.
Yes, March 8th, International Women's Day. You can go to angel.com/Cabrini. Angel.com/Cabrini. Get your tickets now. The theaters are selling out all over the nation. It's very exciting. The response has been absolutely massive. It's been incredible. And I think to close out, we've been surprised that we haven't been surprised by the audience's experience as we've screened this to literally thousands of people. We have been surprised by the critics' response, and that the critics are starting to come in that have pre-screened it, and it's getting 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which blew us away.
Wow.
Because again, critics don't generally like what we do. But that being said, it's a film that's just going to rock people. So you go to angel.com/Cabrini on March 8th. Get your tickets now, though, because if you get them early, it allows us to get better show times, bigger auditoriums, more locations. So it's critical to go get them early.
Well, listen, Jordan, Leo, thank you so very much for joining us here on
Any last words?
No, just thank you.
Words.
No, that's the last thing I'm ever going to say. There you go. Thank you, gentlemen, for the support. And thank you.
Take care. God bless.
Hey, so does he have your information?
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, Jerry, oh yeah, that was good. That was a good interview.
I think that this is exciting stuff.
Yes,
good art, good film. These two gentlemen are obviously good men, know their stuff. It's doing well with critics. This is just
it's good. It's good. It's very good news. It's funny because we talk about the fact that there are areas in which we're losing. And yet except that there are these bright lights that are out there. By the way, I've decided next year when we come back and do this, I'm going to bring back. Remember, we had a couple of years there where I had hired Amelia, our good friend Amelia, to work with us, and a couple other. I'm going to have to hire somebody to do the field production again because I can't just have people just, Jerry was very nervous a second ago because there was a guy with bagpipes and Jerry was afraid that I was going to,
and I like bagpipes.
Pull him over. I love bagpipes. You kidding?
Because in the past you were like,
no, but I have standards. There are people that I will pull in, like we just had somebody walk past.
So again,
remember my rule of thumb is if you're promoting yourself, like if you don't have a PR flunky, I probably won't bring you on. It's a very rare occasion where I will bring on somebody who is flacking for themselves unless I already know you.
Although in years past, I have come to CPAC and walked Radio Row with no publicist, and people have called me over.
Yes,
we sit with us.
But they know you. That's the difference if they know you in advance. If it's rando people that I've never seen before, and they're like, I have a person. You've never. No, you're missing my point.
No, I get your point.
No, somebody who stands there and has we've had field producers with a notepad saying, okay, we want you here and we want you to come in then.
I understand. Yes,
so you're not afraid that I'm going to call over the random bagpiper or somebody who's like, the rando who is running for president.
Oh yeah. He's by the way, same guy.
Oh, another guy.
Same guy. Right. Same guy every year. But let's backtrack because for some reason, our side does a very, very bad job talking about culture.
Yes.
We get into this. Well, I'm an economic conservative, and
right.
I'm a libertarian. You worry me with this cultural stuff.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, we need to understand how to talk about faith and talk about
100%
these more difficult questions.
Here's the thing. Time out for a second. On that point, that was a big focus of last night's international summit. Was the war on faith and the war on religious freedom, and it was.
Well, Europe is a dead continent in terms of faith.
Well, except there are these bright spots that are out there.
Right.
So that's just it. So when you and that's the other side of it is in certain aspects. Obviously, we know that there's been a decline in religion, but on the other hand, Europe leads America in terms of protecting life.
Well, yes. Yeah. I mean, their restrictions on abortion are greater than the U.S. I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They have a greater protection for
Well,
life,
like, life after a certain time.
Right. But my point in the end is, so there was a good discussion yesterday of international transgender policy and trying to bring folks in on that. So it was a really good way to kick off the conference by having these discussions.
The funny thing is about these issues, the so-called cultural issues. The funny thing is that the science ultimately is on our side.
Right.
When we're talking about the transgender movement, more and more secular physicians and doctors are coming to realize that rushing minors to life-altering, irreversible procedures might not be smart.
Right.
I know that recently there was in the news a case of a trans person, a young person, who was bullied and this sort of thing. My response to that is this: we're creating an environment where the left is telling you you're empowered or you're entitled by your victim status.
Right. Yes.
And what we're seeing is, I'll give you an example, local example. We're here in CPAC outside of Washington, D.C., National Harbor. And there was a story down the road in Baltimore of a food delivery to a person's home. And the food delivery person said, "Thank you, sir."
Oh, boy.
And
how dare they?
And
how dare you call me what I look like?
Apparently, the person was a trans woman, and a argument ensued, and then the delivery person left, but the trans person followed the delivery person, got in the car and followed.
Oh my God.
And it ended up with a gun being fired and the trans person being killed. But here's my point. My point is, and no one talks about this. So what, you were called sir?
Right.
Like, why do you feel so entitled that you have to demand that the rest of us bend the knee to your mental health
Absolutely.
issues?
That's exactly.
But it's dangerous. But it's also dangerous.
Yes. Well, with those on, we haven't even touched on. You and I have talked, because I want to get into the rash of trans
shootings,
centered violence. Yes.
My goodness, yes.
But my point is that it goes even beyond that, Jerry. How about something, you've made these choices in your life. Let's assume for a moment that it's not mental illness. Let's assume for a moment that it's somebody, you have a man who is completely rational, Jerry, as you're reading your email, completely rational man who decides, wakes up one day or decides over time, I'm going to cut off my penis because that will make it's a completely rational decision. I'm going to still look like I'm infected. Something. Mary Walter is almost here.
Nothing rational about
that. But let's assume for a second that it's a rational decision.
I'm going to cut my arm off.
Okay, but it's a rational decision that's made. Even if it's a rational decision that's made, you still, if someone gets offended or someone calls you by a different gender, how about you let it roll off your back like water off a duck's back? How about you just say, something? I know I made the choice to cut off my own penis.
Oh my goodness. That's twice.
I'm going to say it when Mary sits down.
No.
Yes.
Don't say that.
Okay. Are you going to join us? Yes. Yes. No, we're not sure. We're ready for you to sit down. The point is, you should
Mary
and cut off my own penis.
No, but here's the danger about this. We are raising. Look, Andrew, I'll take one step backward to take two steps forward.
Sure.
It's no joke, and it makes perfect sense.
It's no joke, folks.
Why 60+% of young people, 18 to 24 years old, hate Jews.
Yes.
And how they want to give Israel over to Hamas. It's because they are the first generation that have been fully indoctrinated.
Right, absolutely,
into
of course.
DEI.
Right.
But that same DEI regime is what's telling trans people, what's telling other so-called victim groups that they are entitled. And this entitlement leads to, in many instances, violence.
Well, hold on for a second. Yes, we're gonna get. Okay.
I know.
I know. It's the windscreen is a little off.
Thank you.
Take it off. Go ahead and take the windscreen.
Thank you. I know.
No.
Oh, I was made fun of, by the way.
Yes, you were.
Audience, what's going on here?
I'll take it.
Thank you, Mary. Sat down. and this was on my mic,
All right.
and I made a face, and he made fun of me.
So you put it on mine?
I did, yes.
Yes.
Wow.
I didn't. I
There
didn't touch
you
it. He
go.
touched it.
Put lip gloss on it. I'm not even on camera.
There you. Well, no, you're on camera.
Your camera.
We can see you. We can see you. Mary Walter
Gloss on high.
joining us right now.
Listen, for
So
the
Mary,
audience,
we're-
there's nothing wrong with being clean and neat,
Yes.
washing yourself and brushing your hair and
Good
not
thing I took a
having.
shower.
When I go to WBAL, I come in, I have a whole thing where I disinfect the mic and I rub everything down.
It's a whole
with-
ritual.
Yeah, I go art.
He burns
I was
sage.
gonna say.
He does
I-
incantations to.
My show prep has I clean my entire station. I don't know who's been there before me.
Yeah, especially your station.
I brought my own mic condom with me.
Yes.
Take whatever was on it, but mine on.
See, there we go. Oh, you know something? I will order some. No, they won't be here in time. I was going to say.
These are like this.
Okay. Well,
Those aren't as good. I don't like those as much. I don't like those as much.
You
I
know,
don't think
anyway.
they work as well.
Hi. So we're just getting to a point where
Introduce our guests.
I did Mary Walter, radio host extraordinaire,
hear you.
podcast host extraordinaire.
He didn't go
Friend-
into the
friend of
extraordinary
the
stuff.
show.
Oh, I
Thank
see,
you,
I see.
Jerry.
All right.
Yes. So yes, I had to do that.
And
I
I was
was-
someone who understands cleanliness. You know,
Yeah.
cleanliness is next to godliness.
My question is, do you wipe everything down 3 times?
Oh yes, because then you have OCD. That's
I just soak it. I just make sure it's soaked,
well.
and I gotta wait
you know.
5 minutes for the dry.
There you
You know
go.
what I mean?
Okay.
So what we
That
were getting
sounds
to though,
normal.
we were having a discussion. We're having a discussion about transgender people. Jerry was getting to this issue, a story out of Baltimore, in which a
Broad issue of we the left, the you know, those in power are telling people that they are empowered or entitled because they are all victims.
Right.
And they've created this, this victim versus victimizer mentality where
Versus oppressor.
That's how oppressor oppressed. That's how the left explains everything. And what they don't get is that it leads to violence. You know, there are people who feel entitled. How dare you call me sir? How dare you question me? And again, an example of this is Fonnie Willis,
yes,
where she has this. How dare you ask about the cash? How dare
you ask if I put my dress on backwards?
But to show you that
I
the
think she
worst thing
needs
that
to buy
happened
a
to
bra.
America in the last 20 years is this DEI that's everywhere.
Right.
It's everywhere.
Well, this is the point. I'm sorry, Barry. Go ahead.
Okay.
I was just going to say this is where you get into this issue of, as Americans are rational about this and see that there's a real problem here, you get the Biden administration pushing this agenda in so many different avenues, whether or not it is attacks on religious freedom at HHS or the Department of Education or even the Department of the Interior, right? They nevertheless, their goal is this indoctrination, this transformation of the language, and thus the transformation of the culture. Anyway, I'm sorry, Barry, go. You
So yes, the oppressor versus the oppressed. Everybody's a victim. But what I'm amazed at is that when a victim group gets kicked off the pyramid of victimhood,
Right.
Oh, yes.
right? They get kicked off and they wind up at the bottom, and then they don't get upset though. They still keep supporting
Sure.
it, which I
Yes.
don't understand, because you've just gone from victim to oppressor, and they still hang on. So that I don't understand. For
But-
Fonnie Willis, excuse me, it's the same people who hate Trump and the way he speaks, and he's
Right.
so mean and he's so disrespectful, cheered her as a strong black
Right.
woman. Right. I'm like, oh my gosh, but because Trump's a white man, which is
Right.
the worst of the worst.
That's
I mean, I cannot
exactly
believe I'm
it.
even sitting here with you two.
Yeah, I know.
What even more egregious was the fact that Fonnie Willis needs a bra and some good foundation undergarments. Okay. Girlfriend needs a visit to Soma. She needs professional fitting on the bra, because they were just like sitting
All
on her belly,
All right,
and
you didn't
she
like me
needs,
saying that other word about things being cut off.
she needs some
Fonnie Willis
spanks.
and a professional bra fitting.
She
is
needs a
not- yeah.
professional bra.
Oh my
fit.
God!
She needs some spanks.
But-
That's all
oh
I'm
my
gonna say,
God.
because
But this
that
is-
look, when she was walking to the stand, it looked like 2 cats fighting in a bag.
Jesus.
But the thing is,
Wow.
that's 3 times now.
Sorry.
Stop taking the
You,
Lord's name in vain.
that's right. There's a whole bunch of nuns here.
And priests.
Yes, see?
but it also goes to this again. This you just said that the American people or a good part of the American people push back against this kind of wokeness. This
Right.
but that only lasts so much. I mean, think about where we were just 10 years ago on the trans issue. I mean, now there are Republicans where if a 6-year-old goes to her teacher and says, Mrs. Smith, I'm a boy, they don't tell. All protocols are all put in motion, but no one tells the parents.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the big thing about the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida. What they didn't care about books. What they care about is that the law requires the school to notify parents for mental health and physical health issues.
Right.
That's what they were afraid of. Why are these lefties so concerned about talking about sex with 6-year-olds? There's something, again, I don't want to sound like what was that? What a QAnon?
QAnon.
But there is something.
Or as I was explaining to somebody, what the John Birch Society used to be. Yes.
There's something.
Is there somebody here from John Birch?
About how the left wants to sexualize young people.
But you know what? I blame parents. We have an entire generation that sat back and mommy was working and that's fine. But nobody learned what their kids were doing. Nobody, we have an entire generation that didn't require their kids to be at the dinner table without their phones. Etc. And there were some who did. I give my brother a ton of credit. 3 girls, no phones at the dinner table. There's one TV in the house.
Wow.
There's no TV in their rooms. My parents did the same thing.
Yeah, we had my kids had no TV in their rooms.
No TVs in our rooms.
Yeah.
And there was one computer until they all started being on computer. They had 2 computers on the first floor in a main room where parents could walk in from any direction.
Sure, of course.
And there was one TV.
Right.
And dinner table, they talked about school. What did you learn today? Those are the things. I blame parents. It took COVID for them to wake up and finally realize what their kids were doing in school. They were not involved. How many of those parents voted in school board meetings before COVID? Yeah. Probably none of them. They never voted in school board elections, right? How many of them attended a school board meeting? Probably 3%, maybe.
Yeah.
So you know what? You reap what you sow.
Yep.
And so there's
what is it? Democracy goes to to those who show up.
Right. I noticed, this is anecdotal, but I noticed this years ago when I started having children and my buddies started having kids.
Yeah.
And as they grew, I have 4 girls and 1 boy. The boy's the youngest.
Oh, the prince. You had 4 girls.
We call him the king, but that's besides the point. But I noticed,
strangely not named Elvis, though. I was actually shocked at that.
It was on the table, though.
Yeah.
But I noticed that my buddies who had boys 16, 17, that the attitude towards sex was, well, they're going to have sex. Good for them. I'm sorry, it's your son. What are you talking about? And you have daughters, what? That's why. No, it's my child. And that is a wonderful, intimate thing to be enjoyed, but not at 16, and certainly not encouraged by you people. And I couldn't get it. These were men who went to church on Sunday. These were, I could not go back because it was boys.
Well, yeah.
But you're right. I'm just personally, I've witnessed this kind of application of parenthood. Oh, we need to do exactly what you just said. And I say this on the radio all the time. You want to do something that's profound, demand that you have family dinner together.
Right.
Every day. Maybe not, we do pizza night on Sundays, on Saturdays rather. No, we do pizza night Friday nights.
Friday nights is pizza movie night.
Other than pizza night, we're at the table together.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Yes. I mean, you have to. It's funny. I knew somebody who their big thing was their father would introduce table talk. So he would send them, a news article or something that they would discuss. And that was, they had to bone up. I tried it with my kids. It didn't quite work.
Well,
but,
my kids call it, I have questions. And finally, my Claire told
Speakers
me once,
questions?
No, well, and this is where Claire said, Dad, we know that you're trying to manipulate us,
Yeah.
Then
it's called parenting.
And years later, she's now 20, 21, and she's applying for jobs, and she's wonderful. And she says, Dad, she said this to me the other day, thanks for the whole subtle manipulation. She goes, I find myself
not so subtle.
I find myself thinking like you think. But that's I like that, but that's not really the point. I mean, she thinks right.
Yes.
She thinks how her faith dictates.
Well, you taught her how to reason and how to think.
How to think.
Not what to think.
Right.
Exactly.
And that is absolutely.
Although sometimes I did tell him what to think.
So Mary, what's going on with you?
I don't know. I hung out with some guy last night.
Yeah, I know.
Was it Langer?
Bought me a drink.
You know what Langer means in Gaelic?
Yeah, do you know what? Have we had this conversation?
No, we
with
have
you?
not.
Ooh.
So, in County Cork, in
Oh,
Ireland,
it's Clark now.
My grandfather's family's from.
There you go.
Great.
Well-
It was a nun in county.
Wait, well, go ahead.
so in
What?
Cork,
What a langer is now.
a langer is a brute, a
Is
boar.
Is an arsehole.
Yes, an obnoxious boar.
That's
Yes,
what you are.
well,
You are not.
there you go.
You're the
There's a
opposite
song, the
of-
Langer song. Have you seen the old man, the drunken old lout, who's roaring and boring and swilling his stout? And in everyone's business, he'll soon stick his snout.
All right.
Down in Cork, he be known as a langer.
And
Yes.
Jerry teach you that?
No, actually,
No,
I
he
thought
taught me that,
I
yes.
don't even remember how I found it.
So
It
was Langer the guy?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
he hung out with me,
He
but-
invited me to a very nice reception. And truth be told, I went because I heard there was going to be food.
yes.
And I work in radio and we never have any money. So we
Yes.
go anywhere for free
I know
food.
that.
Right. And so we ate our dinner. Didn't
It was
we?
not a bad. It
was
was not
really
a bad
good.
spread. It
Is
was
this the international thing?
it was
Yeah.
the
And I
international
have to
thing.
tell you,
An open bar.
yeah. And he did not partake. He drank cool.
I drank later.
He never
Yeah.
drinks.
So
Which is
I did
fine.
later.
he did
Whatever you want to do.
It's fun.
Do you feel entitled because you don't drink?
Yes, I make it
He
a
feels
point. I
better
make
Are you
it-
everybody
the are you the Fonnie Willis of alcohol?
I make sure everybody knows. You know, I'm one of the guys that I'm sober.
He gave it up for lunch.
I'm sober. You know, no alcohol.
We never talked about Lent. Have you done any Lenten sacrifice?
We talked about
We talked a little bit about last
Are you
night.
guys going to see the Mother Cabrini movie?
So I
7:30? I wanna
cannot.
see that.
I have to. I've
This
got
is
a
Catholic,
dinner.
You can't go.
No, I wanted to. We just interviewed the
Yeah, we
the
did.
producers
Oh, did you?
of it, and
It
they
was really
were
good.
They
It's-
I
were
have to
good.
coach a basketball game tonight.
Yes, but we want to go. But the point is, and Mary has offered me a really good idea for Lent. She's giving up gossiping.
I'm not talking about people. And
not-
there was something I could have said about some of the people.
Oh
that was
my
there
God,
last night,
yes,
and I
last
did
night.
not.
And
And I
she said
did
this-
not. I
And
didn't
she
say
said
it.
this as I was talking smack about people last night. She's right. I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna give up.
Gossip. You say you're a
No,
gossip.
he did smoke. He did talk smack about
Oh, I'm
somebody.
talking about smack last night.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It was a situation where literally, and it's always why I shouldn't talk smack about people, because invariably what happens is somebody comes in, just a complete dweeb. And as it happens, he had just hung out with somebody else who was at the table with us the week before. Had just done business with him, which is always the way it is. Which is maybe that's it. Maybe you're right. Maybe that instead of not engaging in internet battles, I should not talk smack about people.
I gave up. We give up and offer up. I gave up and I'm failing. Sorry, God.
It's all right.
I gave up having seconds. During
Okay.
meetings.
No, listen. That's a
so
good
fat.
thing.
What the trick to that? I lost a lot of weight. So the trick to that, smaller plates. You don't use a dinner plate. Use a smaller plate.
Sure.
And you eat slowly and drink a bottle of water before you eat.
These, my wife made breakfast for me this morning. I was working and I was kind of in a rush. So she came upstairs and gave me an egg sandwich and I ate it really quick and I was still hungry.
Right.
If I wasn't working, I would have gone and got more food.
Right.
But about 10 minutes after I ate it,
You're fine.
I was completely
All
fine.
right, this is like my brother came to visit me at college years ago, and we had these delis that were right off campus, and they would have these big sub sandwiches. And my brother just devoured one of the sub sandwiches, and he wanted a second one. I'm like, no, give it 10 minutes, let it hit your stomach. 10 minutes later,
There you
it
go.
all
Right.
just sort of was
So
down there.
my wife and I have given up seconds. But I've offered up. I pray all the time,
I do too.
but I
Do you have
want
the
to.
Hallow app?
No, but I should check it
haven't
out.
downloaded it
I haven't
yet.
either.
I have to do it. I
But
haven't downloaded
but
it.
I pray, but I've decided that my niece, my goddaughter got married in December. So now there are a number of married couples in my family. My two sisters, my niece, my mom and dad. I'm praying for marriages in my family, like
That's a good idea.
specifically
It's
praying for
nice.
marriages. I think it's we and my wife had to celebrate our 31st wedding anniversary, and I think that being married can be difficult
Yes.
with financial
difficult.
pressure and all the rest of it. So I'm praying for I'm saying extra prayers for marriages
Mary brought over Jeffrey Lord to say hello before we were
from
recording.
YA50.
No, that's Jack
Jack
Lord.
Lord.
Oh, sorry.
Also from Colonial Williamsburg, a story of a patriot. No, Jeffrey Lord on CNN, pro-Trump guy. And he said he's going to a wedding this weekend. Otherwise, he would come sit in with us at some point. And I asked him if he was officiating, which he is not. But you said he's doing a wedding
Yeah,
this
I don't
weekend,
know
which is
about
why I
that.
asked.
Get the thing in a in a Cracker Jack box, and all of a sudden you're a reverend.
No, I mean, really, the way to do it is you go and you get married, you legally married, and then whoever does
All right,
you know. But the point is, I'm batting 500 with marriages right now.
Really?
So I'm not doing any more officiating.
No, I do. I'm on our church's pre-Cana team.
No.
But now the church, depending on your diocese, we take all comers. You don't have to be Catholic.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it's a really trying to divorce-proof your marriage, right?
Oh, so the pre-Cana
You
is
can do pre-Cana if you got married in the Catholic Church.
Oh, yes.
But, so you're allowing anyone to come into
Right,
pre-Cana.
anyone can come, and we teach things like finance. It's a long day. We do it in one day. Finance, communication, you get all that kind of stuff. So it's really, and there's a section on spirituality, but if you're not Catholic and you want to get up and walk out, you can do that.
Sure.
But anyone, so we take everybody because I think having premarital counseling is a really good idea.
It's a way to evangelize, you know?
Well, yes.
You know, I love the Catholic Church, but one thing about the church is that it's very exclusive. And what I mean by that is,
it's like a country club.
Yes. But the thing is, you can't, like, when you go to an evangelical church or a Pentecostal church, or you can participate in everything.
Right.
Even communion. You can participate in communion. You go to a Catholic mass. The mass is the mass is about the sacrifice of the bread and wine.
Sure.
And if you're not Catholic, you can't really participate.
Yeah, I like that though.
You know, I don't know.
I think you got to earn your stripes to make sure you're serious about it. We just give it out to just anybody.
No.
Anybody who shows up, you gotta get some free snack.
Exactly.
It's just very clear.
That little juice.
You're good.
No more since COVID. No more juice.
You can't go to Holy Communion with a sinful heart or an uncontrite heart I get that. But I don't know.
It's a sacrament. You got to check off the other boxes in the sacrament before you get to that one. See, it's a progression. It's not a Chinese menu. You can't just pick which ones you want. You got to have the baptism. You got the first communion.
Yes.
So,
but I don't know. I love the Catholic Church. I
got pulled into a minion last night.
Episcopalian.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I got pulled into a minion last night. I was the 10th Jewish man in a minion last night.
First thing I asked you.
I don't remember.
I go, you mean like the little yellow man?
The little yellow man, yes. Yes. You know, the nighttime, evening prayer. So I got pulled in
a Jewish prayer thing?
Yes. Yeah.
But you're a Christian. You're a Jew for Jesus.
He's a cashew.
No, I think as technically it would be, I'm not a Methodist, although I'd be a Mushin. Mushin. Yes, that's the way. So what are your hopes, dreams for CPAC?
Really? There's hopes and dreams.
No, I don't know. You're going to go see the reading movie.
I'm here Saturday because I'm doing call-ins to different various radio stations, about what's going on and everything.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So today I'm going to, tomorrow morning, I'll have to tell them I was on your podcast. That was the highlight.
There you go. Absolutely.
That on another radio show.
Wait, on the Baltimore radio station?
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you say it's Jerry Rogers from WBAL, because they'll appreciate that as well.
Say,
well,
Jerry Rogers.
Book me, so you know what?
Well, see,
I'll book you for Sunday show. But make sure you say the number one in the number one on Sunday and the weekends, Jerry Rogers show.
Because they don't really rank that, so you can't say that. I'm just saying. Oh yes, you can, because they don't rank it. So
they do rank it. I'm number one. I'm number one in the market. I'm number one like by this much.
Yeah, he's running against the infomercial.
Yes,
I beat Christian radio.
Radio.
Well, Sunday church
radio, Sunday Squad.
I beat the Christian, not rock station, but
the local
Christian.
Yeah.
How long are you guys here till Saturday?
Yeah. I'm here till Sunday. So.
Okay. Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to Trump, and everybody's going to want to get in to see Trump. But then I want to see Millet. Javier Millet, but he's up until like 3:00. He's so late on Saturday.
But what you want to do is there's a panel at 10:30 on Saturday you want to go see.
Okay, well, my butt did not get down here until about 10:30 this morning.
Neither did his.
I was here before him, so I was down here.
I was working. I was doing things. Yes. Politics. I got to make money.
All right. Well, tell you what. Listen, I think because it is 12:45. So I think we should, Jerry, what do you want people to do?
Are we ending the show?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm hungry. Who's buying me lunch?
No.
I find the truth, plant your feet, stand firm. God bless you.
Have a great week, everybody. Stay tuned for part 2. Have fun and stay safe.